Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Ricky Resources. You may have realized that I didn't post any videos in the past few days. That's because I was taking a little break, but I am back. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about leadership. People often have this misconception that whoever is your boss or whoever is above you in the hierarchy is your leader. Well, not necessarily. A leader is someone who, well, you guessed it, leads. Now, sure, a boss can tell you what to do, but you sort of have to do it, right? Otherwise, you're fired. However, these two aren't mutually exclusive. You can have a boss that is a leader, and that's the best kind of boss, as well as having a leader that isn't in a position of power. That person is the one people follow when the boss is not a good leader. This can happen when there's a person who hasn't had a chance to rise to a position of power, yet still knows the company well and can translate goals and ideas into actions. A leader is a person who builds a team and knows its strengths and weaknesses, yet still makes them work together. And how exactly do they do that? Here's how. So you're probably looking at me and thinking, what do you know about being a leader? You're like 15. And you're right, I don't exactly have that much real life experience in being a leader. But I did have a few classes on leadership and the psychology around being a leader. So I guess I know what I'm talking about, at least theoretically. So the first step to becoming a good leader is to identify what kind of leader you are. Now, I could sit here and lecture about all different kinds of theoretical models of leadership, like the managerial grid where there's 5 types of leadership depending on the concern for production or concern for people, or the situational model of leadership which suggests a different kind of leadership depending on the situation, but that's a little overkill. So the simplest way to determine what kind of leader you are is by using Kurt Levin's leadership framework. In Levin's framework, there are 3 types of leaderships. The first one is authoritarian or autocratic leadership. This is where the leader is very strict and whatever is said goes. They never ask, they tell. There's usually not a lot of room for input from the rest of the team and mistakes are usually never tolerated. This leadership style is often used when the team lacks experience so that the leader can stay on top of things more easily. The second type of leadership is democratic leadership. Here, the leader usually has the final say on things, but often asks and accepts input from other team members. This might slow down the decision-making process, but the team members feel more engaged and motivated. And the third style of leadership is delegative or laissez-faire leadership. Here, the leader doesn't do much, often only providing advice or resources and letting the team set its own pace. This can only be used when the team is highly experienced, and this is usually used when the leader themselves isn't very knowledgeable with the tasks at hand. Defining the kind of leader you are will help you assert yourself as one. Obviously, you'll have to take into consideration the situation your team is in order to become the leader they need you to be. The next thing you can do to become a good leader is to become a role model. Like I said in the beginning of the video, leaders are people you look at and want to follow. And the best way to be followed is to be good at what you do. Good leaders not only talk the talk, but they walk the walk too. By portraying the behaviors you want to see within the team will try and emulate those behaviors. Since you're doing them, they'll think, yeah, you know, I should be doing that too. Being passionate is another quality that makes a good leader. Passion is something that could really make a difference within the workplace. If you really like what you do and you act like it, you become much more zealous, and that adds a certain quality to your work. The good thing about passion is that it's contagious, so if you're passionate, your team members are most likely going to be passionate as well. And if you're not passionate about your work, don't expect your team to be either. Not only must you be passionate, but in order to be a good leader, you must be positive as well. If you're optimistic, it inspires others to do the same. If you walk into your office feeling discouraged, other people feel it too, and that drags down people's morale very easily. Another thing you can do to be a better leader is to encourage others to make contributions. When people feel like it's safe to voice their opinion and that what they say actually contributes to what happens, this sense of empowerment increases people's motivation and engagement. Now you're probably thinking, wait, what if I'm an autocratic leader? Why would I want people's opinion? Well, you might not want their opinion when it comes to the actual business, but you can ask for their opinion on working conditions to make sure that they feel comfortable enough in the workplace. Encouraging people to make contributions also leads to another good quality within a leader, listening and communicating effectively. Make sure you're accessible to your team members. It's important to make people feel like they can come up and talk to you because not only does it help them feel like they can contribute, but it also helps you know what goes on within the office. For example, if you're always available to talk to your team members and something goes wrong, they'll most likely report it to you and solve the problem before it becomes even bigger. As you've seen, all of these contributions that a leader brings to its team don't necessarily impact the results directly, or even have to do with conducting business itself. But the conditions they create help the team become more successful. And that's what being a leader is all about, being there to guide the team and help achieve its goals. And that's it for today, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching this episode. If you liked it, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, leave a comment saying what you think being a good leader is. In the meantime, stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Ricky Resources.